Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's tutorial is going to be on this glittery cranberry smoky eye. I did this look a few months before I even had my YouTube channel, and this has been the #1 requested tutorial for me to do. So I wanted to do it, but I wanted to do it a little bit different than the look that I did before, just because that was like a very holiday, very Christmassy kind of look, and this still kind of is, but I wanted it to be, I didn't do the glitter liner with it, but if you wanted to do that you could. What I used in the original photo was the Urban Decay Heavy Metal Liner in the shade Midnight Cowboy. So you can most definitely do that. I just wanted this to be like a glittery, smoked out cranberry look, so that's what I did. So I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and let's just go ahead and get started. So to start off, I'm going to go in with the shade Raw Sienna. That's going to be my transition shade. I'm going to go in with an M513. I am a creature of habit, and you will see me use the same brushes all the time. The M513 is one of my favorites. I like to tap off any excess shadow that might be on the brush, and then I'm just going to really work that in all the way along my crease where I want the transition shade to be. Then I'm going to go in with a Sigma E40 brush. It's just a really nice fluffy blending brush, and if you want to really do a good job at blending your transition shade, or any shade for that matter, the best way to blend is to use a fluffy blending brush like this. It will just make the job so much easier, and you can already see that that shade is blending out until it looks like it just kind of melts in with my skin. Like you can't see like a sharp line where it starts and stops. And then of course I'm going to go back in with the M513 brush, because that's what I do. I go back and forth between my blending brushes just to make sure that everything is perfect. Next, I'm going to go in with the shade Red Ochre, and I'm going to use this to go ahead and start deepening up that crease. I'm going in on this really tiny fluffy brush because I do want this shadow to blend really nicely, but I also want it to be defined, if that makes any sense. So I'm pretty much just going to go right over top of that first shade that we put on, I just wanted to lay that down to help blend this out a little bit, but if it peeks through a little bit, then that's awesome because it's a pretty shade anyways. But I'm just pretty much going to blend that into the outer corner and in the crease. And then once I do that, I'm going to go back in with the M513 brush to help blend that out a little bit more. Like I said, I will go back and forth between all of my blending brushes almost after like every single color, except for like a super dark one, unless I just want to blend out the edges. But I just think that this is what helps us achieve like a perfect blended look. And then I'm going to go back in with that E40 again and do the same thing. Then I'm going to go in with this really dark shade called Cypress Umber, and I'm going to go in on an E17 brush, and I'm going to lightly tap that with, you know, a little bit of product, not a lot. We want to build it up, and I'm going to tap that onto my outer corner, and I'm going to start blending that up towards the crease. I'm not going to go as high with it as I did the other two shades, because this is going to be a more defined shade, and if we go up too high with the dark, obviously it will cover up the other shades that we did, and then it's going to make everything start to look really muddy, and that's not what we want. So I'm just going to, you know, blend this towards the center of my eyelid, but I'm not going to go all the way there. I'm just going to go about like the outer 1/3 of my eyelid, but I want that to be nice and blended. We are going to put like glitter over top of it, so if it's not perfect, that's okay, but I just feel like if you perfect it now, you don't have to worry about anything later. So next I'm going to go in with the shade Venetian Red, and I'm going to go in with an M167 brush, and I'm going to use this to go over the other 2/3 of my eyelid. I'm pretty much going to treat this like I'm cutting my crease with it, just because I'm going to go in with a Stila liquid shadow, and it's really pigmented, but I am almost out of it, so I wanted something that was, you know, a very similar color to be underneath it, so that none of my eyelid shade will poke through the glitter. So I'm just going to take that all the way to where we put the dark brown shade, and I'm just going to kind of tap that onto it and blend those two shades together. And I did want to make sure that my crease was like defined with this, so that I know exactly where I want to put that Stila eyeshadow. And then I'm going to go back in with that E17 brush and the tiniest amount of that dark brown shade, and I'm just going to tap it in there and kind of spread it around a little to darken it back up, and then blend it into that cranberry shade that we just used. And then I'm going to take my M513 and I'm going to blend out the edges again. Next, I'm going to go in with the Stila Glitter and Glow liquid eyeshadow in the shade next to Notte. Not sure how you pronounce that, but that's what we're going to go with. Anyways, I'm just going to use that and trace the line that we've already made with that red shade from the Modern Renaissance palette, and then I'm just going to fill everything in all the way down to the lash line, and from the inner corner all the way to where we meet that dark brown shade. And I'm going to take my little tiny precision brush, and I'm going to use that to help make the crease a little more defined. The line at the top, I just want it to be really precise. You can always blend that out a little bit better after it dries, but honestly, I try not to touch this too much after it dries, because that glitter kind of falls out everywhere. And I'm just going to make sure I put on a good amount, and so that it covers everything as much as we can. And then I'm also going to, you know, tap it onto the outer edge where it meets the brown, so that it kind of blends it together, as you saw me do just a second ago. And then I'm going to go back in with that E17 brush and that dark brown shade, and I'm just going to tap it very lightly over the edge where we just put that cranberry shade, the Stila Glitter and Glow, because I want everything to look nice and blended and smoky. Then I'm just going to take some makeup remover wipes and clean up any fallout that we have under there, and I'm also going to use that to sharpen up the edge of the eyeshadow. And then, as always, you guys know this part so well by now, going in with the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer and the Urban Decay, mixing those two together to conceal my under eyes. And of course I'm going to use the Morphe Highlight and Contour Beauty Sponge to do that with, because that is my favorite. And I just want to make sure that I blend this underneath my eyes, so that it covers up any like dark circles or anything like that that would show up. Then I'm just going to take the Beautyblender that I used to put on my foundation, and I'm going to blend that concealer into my skin a little bit better, so that we have a nice transition and it doesn't look like it goes from concealer to foundation in a harsh type of way. And then I'm just going to set that concealer with a little bit of RCMA translucent powder, and I'm just going to try to keep that focus right under my eye and just a little bit more in the inner corner, but I don't like to go down too low with this powder. And then I just like to go back in with the brush that I used for bronzer, and I like to bronze the sides right there where we brought that concealer out, because it will just bring our face in a little bit and not make it look so wide. Then I'm going to go in with this burnt orange shade again, and I'm going to go in with an R41 and use that to smoke out the bottom lash line. I'm going to take that dark brown shade, Cypress Umber, on a flat definer brush, and I'm just going to place that right against my lash line, and I'm going to go almost to my inner corner, but not quite, probably about 2/3 of the way in, and I'm just going to blend that out. Then I'm going to go back in with the shade Red Ochre, and I'm going to use that to blend those two shades together. I'm going to use that same R41 brush, and I'm just going to smoke that out just a little bit more and make sure that that chocolate brown shade is not too harsh. I'm going to take that very first shade in the palette called Tempera, and I'm going to use that as a brow bone highlight. This is a really nice shade for a brow bone highlight. I really like it. I'm going to take the Tarte So Fine Micro Liner, and it's what I'm going to use to give myself a cat eye. I really like this liner because it is so tiny and so, like, the tip is so precise, like so fine. Well, obviously that's the name of it, but it just is so easy to work with. And I just use this for the outer part of the wing because I feel like if I try to run something like this, like with a felt tip over top of glitter, then it kind of messes up the felt tip. So for the actual glitter part, I'm going to go in with the Inglot Gel Liner in the shade 77. And when I use this for glitter, then I just put it on in tapping motions. I like to tap it on because I feel like that gives me the most precise and like straight line without looking all smudged and uneven, because glitter can make your liner do that very easily. Then I'm going to go ahead and give my lashes, my top lashes, a quick coat of Urban Decay Perversion mascara. And then on my bottom lashes, I always use a waterproof so that it doesn't crease under my eyes. And then for today's lashes, I'm going to go in with my favorite high-end lashes, and these are the House of Lashes Iconic Lights. I love these lashes so much because they are just so nice looking, but they don't look like so dramatic that, like, you know, you'd be embarrassed to wear those out in public. Well, I mean, I don't know if I'd ever be embarrassed to wear any lashes out in public, but some are just like so huge, you know, that it just completely drowns out your whole eye look, and these don't do that. Then I'm going to go in with Tarte Blush Bazaar in the shade Endless. You know, this is one of my favorite blush palettes ever. I love Tarte's blushes, and this is my favorite brush to apply it with. And so, of course, I'm just going to put that on the apples of my cheeks, and then with hardly any product on it, I'm going to dust it up towards my nose so it gives it more of a natural, like, sunburn effect. Something I've been doing recently is actually contouring my nose a little bit. I usually never do this because I don't have like a real big nose, but I just have really been into doing this lately. The brush that I'm using, it came in an Urban Decay palette, and I'm pretty sure it was like the Alice in Wonderland one, but I'm not really positive. One end of it though is like perfect for a nose contour. So I'm just going to contour the sides, and when there's hardly any product left, I'm going to brush it up towards my brow bone, because that's like where you would have a natural shadow. And then I like to just put a little bit underneath right there, because I feel like if there's any place that would kind of like look a little bit bigger, that's it. And then I also like to take it just a little bit across the bridge at the bottom of my nose. Then I'm also going to take just a little bit and put it right under my lower lip. That's going to make our lips look a little bit more pouty. And then I'm going to take the tiniest amount too and put it right in the center where our cupid's bow is, like right in between like those lines that are naturally a little bit higher where they're parallel. And I'm just going to do that to deepen it up. Then I'm going to go in with the Kylie Cosmetics Wet Set. This is one of my favorite highlighters ever. And the shade that I'm using is Privacy Please. I love every one of the shades, but this one's probably my favorite. I'm going to use that to just put on a little bit in the inner corners so that it brightens the look up a little bit. And then I'm also going to use just a touch on my brow bone. And then I'm going to use my finger just to put like a thin line down the center of my nose and on the end of my nose, like on the roundest part, just to make it shine a little bit more. And then I am going to put a little bit on my Cupid's bow on the actual parallel lines. We don't want it to go over top of the darkness that we just put, the contour that we put inside. And then of course I'm going to highlight my cheekbones, and I feel like this product applies best when you use your finger and then you want to just tap it on, and then after most of the product's on you just kind of want to like blend it into your cheeks so it doesn't look really harsh. But I like to put a little bit above the arch and the end of my eyebrow as well. And then I'm going to put just a touch of it on my chin to highlight that too. And then I'm going to go in with one of my favorite eyeliners, and you guys have seen me use this several times at this point. I'm going to go in with the MAC eyeliner in the shade Costa Riche, and I'm going to place that on my waterline. This is like a really nice dark brown, but it has like a red undertone, and especially if you have like green eyes like I do, it just makes them pop so much and just kind of brings them to life. Then I'm going to go in with Kylie Cosmetics Lip Liner in the shade Leo. The reason that I'm doing this, I hardly ever use lip liners, but the first time that I created this look, I just went in with the liquid lipstick that I have, and it was really patchy. So I thought if I filled in my lips first with a lip liner, then that would help to darken it up and not make it look as patchy. However, that was not the case. First of all, I felt like this lip liner actually kind of bled a little bit, like kind of feathered out a little bit on the edges. And anytime you do like a dark lip like this, well, anytime you do a lipstick, you want it to be really precise, but especially a dark lip because it will show up so much worse. And lip liners don't usually do that, and that's why I was using a lip liner, but this one did do it. So then I just go in with this shade called Gorg by Kylie Cosmetics, and I'm not a fan of this. Some of her liquid lipsticks just dry down too harsh and kind of crusty, and this is one of those that does it, but it's also streaky and patchy. But it's the only shade that I have that matched this look. That was, you know, the tone that I was going for, so that's why I used it again, even though I knew it was kind of crappy. So after I was finished filming, I had already filmed my intro, my outro, everything. I ran back upstairs and filmed this little part because I put this lip gloss over top of it, and I feel like that really helped to fill in any patchiness. But you have to be careful with this shade too, because if you get it close to the edge of the lines, then it wants to bleed a little bit too. So just be careful with that one. And then I'm just going to set my face with the Morphe Prep and Set setting spray so that all of our powders and everything that we've used on our face just kind of melts together. So that concludes this tutorial. If you guys like this video, please don't forget to subscribe and click the little bell so that you get notified every time I upload. And I will see you guys in my next tutorial. Bye.